My microphone sounds nice when it is on. And this is a check one. I said my microphone sounds nice when it's on. And this is check two. Welcome y'all to another edition of Beyond the Rim. Hashtag BTR. And we're going to have a nice, fun podcast today. We're going to be talking about comic books. We're going to get into the DC universe, the Marvel universe, and we're talking with a comic book expert and proprietor of Comic X-plosion, a good friend of mine, Paul Conrad. PC, say hi to the peoples out there.
Hello, funny book fans. How are you?
Paul, I've known you, it seems like, all my life, and I got some years on you, and you have been on my television show a bunch of times. And when you're on my television show, when we're supposed to be talking about basketball, most of the time we're talking about comic books, because that's what you and I really like. The MMBL is nice, but you and I rather talk about the comic books.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, those comic books always sneak into our conversations on the show all the time. And, in person, we'll be talking about like basketball games, and then we'll just bring up comics. It happens every time.
What I want to do, Paul, is I want to start this podcast just by acknowledging the death of Adam West, who was TV's Batman in the 1960s. It ran for 3 seasons, 1966, 1967, 1968. And, he was the first Batman that I seen on television.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that was, that came out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting that, because I just saw him a few months back at the Northeast Comic Con. He was probably set up maybe, 20 feet away from me. And that was a big surprise.
The only time I met Batman, Adam West's version of Batman, was only one time. Wasn't at a comic book convention, and that's completely my fault, because you have personally been trying to get me to a comic book convention forever. And one of these days, I promise you, I will go with you. But the one time that I seen Adam West, it was after the first Michael Keaton Batman movie came out. I was at UMass Boston at that time, and Adam West came in and he spoke in one of the auditoriums at UMass Boston, and he was fielding questions about Batman and other aspects about his acting career and stuff. But all I was interested was the Batman, and I probably asked the most Batman questions out there. That's the only time my only interactions with Adam West. Did you know Adam?
That's very cool.
Did you know Adam West well, or did you see him often?
I saw him at a few shows over the years, mostly just, quick interactions, go up, say hi, have him sign something quick. He's always a very busy guy at those shows with a massive crowd around him. So I've never had an opportunity to actually sit there and ask him a bunch of questions and talk to him, which I always wanted to. And, and I was planning on and actually trying to do that, because I know he was scheduled to do a bunch of shows this year, but sadly, he passed away, and he won't be doing that, and so now I kind of regret not really trying to sit down with him and talk to him more.
That's really a hashtag bummer. I mean, he certainly was a gem and stuff, and like I said, I only met him that one time, and when he passed away, I tweeted. And you'll understand this, and everybody else out there who follows comic books, I tweeted with a picture of him, "A death in the family."
Oh, yes. Yep, death in the family. That is the perfect line right there for him. I mean, yeah, anyone who's a Batman fan knows death in the family, and that was, it was a very sad day. It really was. He meant so much to so many fans, of not just comics, but of the show, which was just a fantastic show. And even the Batman movie that he did, wasn't as good as the show, but I did see it a bunch of times. But yeah, he was a great guy. He actually was a really nice person. Every time I met him, he was him and Burt Ward too. Both of those guys are pretty nice guys. So I'm happy I at least met them a few times over my life.
I have never met Burt Ward. Interesting. I've never had any really interest in Burt Ward. I wouldn't have mind meeting Catwoman, either one of the three. But again, I'm sure most guys out there would say, "Hey, I'll beat either one of the three Catwomen and stuff." There were other characters on that show that I wouldn't have mind meeting. But strangely enough, Burt Ward, I mean, not to cap on Burt Ward and be dissing him, but personally, I'd have been more interested in meeting Aunt Harriet. I don't know why.
Nice. You know what? I think Cesar Romero would have been really cool to meet too.
Right.
You know, the original Joker. You know, that would have been fantastic. I think. Yeah, because I thought he was phenomenal on that show as well.
I agree with you. And maybe about a couple of months ago, I was surfing the internet and just, you know, killing some time. And when I surf the internet to kill time, for some strange reason, I always seem to be looking up Batman-related stuff. So for folks out there who don't know, Batman is my favorite hero. But we're going to be talking about our favorite heroes, both myself and PC. But I was looking up Batman stuff, and I came across the Cesar Romero. And I don't know if you knew this, but Cesar Romero absolutely refused to shave his mustache to play the part of the Joker. I think he was like a serious theater actor.
Yes.
He might have thought that this role was kind of like beneath him or unworthy of him or something like that. But the bottom line is, he flat out refused to shave that mustache. And as a kid, I always, you know, that mustache sticks out. So as a kid, I always wondered, well, I wonder why he has a mustache. The Joker doesn't have a mustache. You know what I'm saying? The Joker doesn't have a mustache.
No, you're right. It really did stick out. Yeah, he did not want to shave that mustache. And I think that's what it was. I think he thought this was just like, you know, a thing just to make a couple of bucks. This show wouldn't last, type of thing. But then, you know, it actually really hit the fan base and people liked it. But yeah, it always does look weird, like going back and watching the old episodes, and that mustache really does stand out. You know, and I still look at Cesar Romero's Joker as one of the best. You know, I know people really like the Dark Knight, Heath Ledger's Joker. You know, I was actually a fan of Jared Leto's Joker in the Suicide Squad movie. I liked it. A lot of people didn't, but I did. I really like Jared Leto. I think he's a great actor. I thought he pulled it off, considering he didn't have a lot of screen time. I thought he did really well.
I agree with you. I also enjoy the way that he portrayed that Joker character. So, you know, PCU and I have always talked offline, off the record, about comic books and stuff like that. And the way I look at it, I mean, I'm a fanboy. You're obviously a fanboy. And,
yep.
But the way I choose to be a fanboy is that I'm not one of those fanboys that when somebody portrays a character, you got to portray this character by the letter of the law. I think that I think there are different interpretations or different universes. So I enjoy most representations of whomever played what type of character. So more specifically, the Joker. Cesar Romero was the first Joker that I knew. I grew up with him, so I liked the way he portrayed the character, mustache and all. Jack Nicholson was certainly funny, and you know, he stole the first Batman movie. I like the way that he portrayed it. Heath Ledger, again, that was brilliant, and the final Joker that we were just mentioning. So obviously, these are four different representations of the Joker. So in my mind, in my opinion, I was looking at four different universes, and that was cool.
Absolutely, that's actually a good way to look at it, and because you know, we're both fanboys, but then there's also, like, you know, that different level of fanboy where, you know, they don't want anyone even touching the character anymore, which doesn't make any sense. I mean, how can you know, continue to make Batman movies and not have a Joker? I mean, other people are going to play the Joker over the years, and you know, and I like how they all did it differently. You know, I like the dark, Heath Ledger's like really dark take on the Joker, Jack Nicholson's funny Joker, and I like this, like the modern Joker that Jared Leto played, you know, where, they gave him like the gold teeth and the chains and the tattoos, and it was a good modern take on him. I thought he did really well. I really wish, instead of making a Suicide Squad movie, they made a Harley Quinn Joker movie instead. I thought Harley Quinn and the Joker stole the show in that movie. Their scenes were the best. They should have just went with that, especially when those are two of the most popular characters in the whole DC universe at the current time. And I'm really hoping that in the future they do make that movie with the same actors. I really hope they do that. I know they have a Gotham City Sirens movie in the works, so they will have Harley Quinn back, but I'm not sure if they're going to have Jared Leto back as the Joker in that movie. I'll cross my fingers, though.
The way that Harley Quinn has blown up in recent years, me not making my living doing this in terms of in the comic book field, that's why I have you as the expert here. Can you explain to me and the listeners out there, how did Harley Quinn blow up? I mean, Harley Quinn is not a new character, but it was literally PC. I went to sleep one night and everything was normal in the Bat universe. I woke up the next morning and like Harley Quinn has exploded. She's so popular. She's hanging out with Power Girl. I bought a couple of those comics.
Yeah, me too. I did the same thing. I bought a few of those. I'm actually still trying to complete that set. I think I have 3 out of the 4, 3 out of the 5. I need to find the other 2 to finish reading it. Yeah. With Harley Quinn, that was like kind of like an overnight thing. It really went under the radar really quick. 'Cause a few years back, maybe I would say 4 or 5 years ago, people started hunting down appearances of Harley Quinn, and people kept on asking me if I had these, and I'm like, why do people want these? I was like, I don't get it, because she really wasn't a big character. I mean, I know she was in the animated series, and then people just really wanted the books. So then I kind of was trying to figure out myself, and I think what it was is, I would say starting around like maybe from the past 5 or 10 years, there's been a big influx of female comic fans, and I see it a lot. I travel around the country doing these shows, and there's a lot more female comic readers, and they're looking for fun, interesting characters to read, and Harley Quinn resonated with them really well. She's funny, quirky. She's always either around the Joker or some other cool comic book character. And yeah, it really resonated with them. And then boom, she exploded. It was quick, overnight. And now it's really hard to find a lot of her older issues now. They're becoming like few and far between.
Have you had luck finding older issues and stuff? I mean, since you're in the business and you're a seller, I'm sure that you have your share of customers come up to you and asking about Harley Quinn.
Oh yes, I try to carry a good selection of Harley Quinn for the fans at every show. A lot of the older issues now are kind of expensive. A lot of just regular readers, people who just want to read the book, they really can't dish out, $50, $100, $1,000 for a first appearance. They're not going to dish that out. So most people are just buying the new Harley Quinn books, and they sell really well because they're good, fun stories. But yeah, I always try to get Harley Quinn back issues as much as I can, because it's a very popular book right now. And very rightfully so. It's a good book.
PC, who are your favorite superheroes or characters? Well, first of all, before you answer this, right, are you DC or Marvel? I know you sell everything, but what are you? I'm DC. I love the Marvel universe, but I'm DC.
I'm originally a Marvel Universe fan. I grew up reading X-Men and Wolverine. That's where it all started for me. Reading X-Men, Fall of the Mutants, Extinction Agenda, Inferno. That's when I was really first reading comics. Later on, one of my favorite characters became Venom. Very early on, I really thought it was a fantastic supervillain, for Spider-Man. I really thought that was going to be a game changer back when Todd McFarlane was doing Spider-Man. I thought that was fantastic, and I'm actually super excited that one of my favorite characters now, looks like he will be getting his own movie soon, the Venom movie.
Wait, no, time out. Did you just say did I hear you correctly? Venom is getting his own movie?
Venom will be getting his own movie, his own standalone movie. Spider-Man will not be in the movie either.
Wow.
It is going to be Venom. No other characters are known right now to be in the movie, but Venom will be getting his standalone movie probably in a year or two, and Venom will also be played by Tom Hardy. I don't know how many people know Tom Hardy. They should know him because he played Bane in the Batman movies. But he is a phenomenal actor, and I am very excited that he's going to be playing Venom. And actually, it's kind of cool that Tom Hardy now will have played two of the best villains from the Marvel and DC universe, Bane and Venom. That'll be very interesting.
That is as cool as the other side of the pillow. Wow, Venom, Venom the movie. I had no clue about this. Venom is a Spider-Man villain, and I'm not going to get into the origins of Venom and all that stuff, because for the fanboys out there, they already know. But you can always tweet at me at Nestor Dudley, NESTERDUDLEY, and if folks out there want to get into the origins of Venom and everything, all Venom and stuff, my friend Paul Conrad, PC, the proprietor of Comic X-plosion, I'm sure he would have no problems doing a podcast all Venom, all podcast long. Is that right, PC?
Oh yeah, I have no problem with that. I could do that. I could talk Venom all day.
Now, is Venom now we talk about Venom now, a natural segue into Spider-Man, and Spidey is coming out with his movie Spider-Man Homecoming in a matter of weeks, July 7th. And Spider-Man, they're taking it from the beginning, Peter Parker in high school.
I think it's fantastic. I think the main thing is Marvel pulling off this movie is huge because they didn't own the rights. Sony did. So Sony and Marvel had to come to an agreement for them to even have Spider-Man enter the Marvel cinematic universe. They had to come to a big deal. So now this is finally Spider-Man in the Marvel cinematic universe for the first time. So I'm very excited. I like how they're going back to the very beginning. They're going to do it their way.
Right.
I like Tom Holland. I think he was cool in the Civil War movie.
Yes, I do too. Yes, I enjoyed how he portrayed that. I absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to start it, and I can't wait. I'll definitely be there for that movie, 100%. I'm excited for that movie.
As you know, PC, you know my son Lester, who is 21 years old, and Lester actually did the logo for this podcast, Beyond the Rim. I've always taken Lester to see all superhero movies, and then we break them down afterwards. The only superhero movie that me and Lester never saw was Iron Man 2. Back when Iron Man 2 came out, I had some, it was money was tight. As Run DMC would say, hard times, got my pockets all in change. So I don't know how old Lester was then, but 21 years old, he still has not forgiven me. This only thing in life he hasn't forgiven me for is not to take him to see Iron Man 2. So we see all these superhero movies together, and Spider-Man Homecoming is certainly not going to be it's not going to be left out. I mean, we already have our calendar circled for the 7th, and I'm looking forward to seeing that movie as well. I'm just not. What I'm concerned about is, they're taking him as a teenager, which is fine, but then the rest of the Avengers and stuff are adults and stuff, and there's obviously some type of Avengers mix in there. And, I want to see a Spider-Man movie. I'm hoping, PC, that I'm not going in, I'm seeing like a teenage movie, and the teenager just happens to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's something I kind of worried about myself, that, who did they target this to? Is it just going to be a movie that Marvel catered to teens? I hope not. I liked what I saw so far. I really hope. I mean, I love that Michael Keaton's going to be the Vulture. I think that is only going to help the movie, because I think he just hits it out of the ballpark every time. So I think it's going to be a very exciting movie. I just hope it's not too teen-oriented, for, 12, 13, 14-year-olds. I hope they don't go in that direction. But yes, I will be there on opening day. I also me and my wife see all the superhero movies. We've recently seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Logan, Wonder Woman. I take her right away. I can't even wait. As soon as they come out, I have to go see them.
Well, tell your lovely wife, Elsie, that Nesta says hello.
I will absolutely do that.
I have seen those other movies as well that you have mentioned. I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I've seen Wonder Woman. And let's talk about Wonder Woman.
Absolutely.
It's... with me, I always take it back to the DC universe. I love the Marvel universe. Back in my heyday when I was collecting, it was both DC and Marvel. So now, a couple of kids later, and the kids are, one's 21, one's 19, but I narrowed it down to the DC universe, and I collect mainly Batman titles and Superman titles. But basically, PC, I would be in any universe that Batman's in. Batman could easily fit in the Marvel universe. His character could easily jump to the Marvel universe, and I would be a Marvel universe guy. But Wonder Woman, I like that movie. Tell me your thoughts about that movie.
I thought it was a home run by DC. Finally, they hit a massive home run with another character other than Batman. It took them a while. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought Gal Gadot was phenomenal as Wonder Woman. I love the origin story of it. I love the backstory. Chris Pine did a great job. I was very excited for that movie and nervous at the same time, because I knew if this movie didn't do well, that DC might shut down some of their future movies that they had planned, and that would be disappointing because I'm really looking forward to a lot of them. But yeah, this movie was phenomenal. I loved it. And it's killing in the movie theater, and all the reviews have been very good. And not just, I don't go by reviews of movie critics online. My reviews are the people I talk to at the Comic-Cons and that I bump into on the street, and I get their opinions on the movie. And so far, everyone has loved the movie, which is very exciting. So we should definitely be seeing maybe another Wonder Woman standalone movie in the future, but I know she'll be in the upcoming Justice League movie, so I guess I'll have to wait for that to see Wonder Woman again. And, it doesn't hurt that she's not bad to look at either.
Well, what kind of a universe? I don't think there's any universes out there amongst all the multi-universes that there is a Wonder Woman who's a mud duck.
No, I don't think so. Definitely not.
That is just not going to happen. I myself, and Lester as well, also enjoyed the movie. I enjoyed the time on Themyscira and getting into the back stories of that and stuff. I mean, Themyscira, Paradise Island. You heard about it, you read about it, but how are they going to portray it? I liked the way they portrayed it. And then she went to the mainlands and stuff, and with Steve Trevor and the gang. And I think the badass part about that was when they were in the trenches, And she was like, we got to move forward. And they were like, well, no, we can't move forward. And she's like, watch this. And I mean, that was bad.
Oh no, that was a badass part of that movie. No, that was fantastic, and I loved like the era that they made it to. I was, when they first announced the movie, I really didn't know how they were going to go about doing this. Were they going to do current day Wonder Woman with just flashbacks of an origin? But I loved how they started right from her as a child, growing up on the island, and then, fighting the Nazis. I thought that was a perfect entrance into the DC cinematic universe, and then bring it right back into the present day. Her interactions with Batman. Now we're going to see after that movie, and I'm very excited to see it.
The one thing that I had a problem with the movie, the one thing that didn't make any sense to me, PC, and I'm not sure if you ever thought about this, but if you haven't, think about this for a while. We don't have to discuss it in length, but in that movie, she took down a god, all right? She's a goddess, she's a demigod, and by putting her two bracelets together and creating that force, that explosion, whatever you want to call it, that force of power, okay? I dig that. I can relate to that. Now, my question is, and that's when she was learning that. She learned that in World War I times. Now, why didn't she use that power against Doomsday and Batman vs. Superman? I mean, PC, think about it. If she had to use that power, Doomsday would be taken care of, and poor Clocky wouldn't be dead. I mean, Clock is in some grave now in Smallville. I mean, what's up with that, PC?
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I was actually walking back to the car from the movie. That popped into my head, and I'm like, wait a second. She could have just used that right away on Doomsday, and then Clark would be alive right now.
Right.
No, it's like, she was like, let everyone get beat up right now by Doomsday for a little while, and then we'll kill him later, But yeah, she could have used that right away, and it would have been over. Boom, just like that. Oh, that makes you think. It really does make you think.
Yeah, and Lester was like, yeah, you're right. I mean, and I've taught Lester how to break down superhero movies well. Matter of fact, he is better at breaking it down than me. So that was something that made me go, And then the thing that was a big bummer to me, PC, is that we sat there after the credits and there was no Easter egg. Nothing. What's up with that?
Yeah, I know. I was sitting there too. I was sitting there a long time. People were leaving, and I'm sitting there and I'm waiting, and I'm like, wait, is there anything coming on after this? I actually had to get on my phone to see if there was any Easter egg at the end of the movie. When I found out there wasn't, I was kind of bummed. It's like maybe I've gotten spoiled and gotten used to like all the little Easter eggs at the end. But, I just like them. It gives you something to, look forward to. And, yeah, I wish they would have thrown one in there at the end.
Well, PC, right now we are going to take a break. This is, we're almost 30 minutes in, and, I'm going to have you on several times because it is completely impossible to talk about comic books in 60 minutes or less. My goal for these podcasts are not go with 60 minutes. So we're going to go into a break. And PC, we're going to go to a break. My very first crime fighter, superhero, super being that was my hero was Underdog.
Underdog.
And because basically, when I was a kid, if a character had a cape, then that character was for me. So, yeah, Underdog. And if you think about a PC, Underdog was the original rapper. He was the first rapper. He spoke in rhymes.
You know what? That's true. I didn't think of it that way. But you're right. He is the first rapping superhero. And I think maybe he'll be coming out with an album soon.
So we're going to go into the break, and on the other side, I'm going to be back here with Paul Conrad, who I affectionately call PC, the proprietor of Comic X-plosion, and we'll see you on the other side of the break.
criminals in this world appear and break the laws that they should fear and frighten all who see or hear, the cry goes up both far and near for underdog. 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 Speed of lightning, roar of thunder, fighting all who love or plunder. Underdog. When in this world the headlines read of those whose hearts are filled with greed, and rob and steal from those who need to right this wrong with blinding speed, goes underdog, 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 speed of lightning, roar of thunder, fighting all who rob or plunder. The cry goes up both far and near for underdog, 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 speed of lightning, roar of thunder, fighting all who love or plunder, underdog, underdog, underdog.
Back here, you all, with Paul Conrad, PC, proprietor of Comic X-plosion. I'm your host, the Dudster, Nesta Dudley, and this is Beyond the Rim, hashtag BTR. So, PC, as a comic book seller and DC versus Marvel, as well as other universes, because you sell them all.
Yes, I do.
Who out of DC and Marvel? I specialize in DC and Marvel, mainly DC, and when you break it down, mainly Batman. But what's doing better with the comic book sales now? Is it the DC universe or is it the Marvel universe?
Right now, it is the DC universe. They are kicking Marvel's ass in comic sales right now. When they did DC Rebirth, people really resonated with them. They really loved it, especially Batman and All-Star Batman and Wonder Woman and The Flash. Those are really top sellers. But yeah, people really got turned off by a lot of the Marvel titles. People don't like big core changes to some of their favorite characters, and Marvel kind of changed a lot of things around it seems like just for no reason. Why is Captain America a Hydra agent? Why is Jane the new Thor? Hey, who's this Amadeus Cho and why is he an Asian Hulk? And is there anything cool about him? No, he's just an Asian Hulk. Well, all right. Yeah, and it's you can't just try to force that on a lot of the readers just without any reasoning to it. They just hey, you know what? We'll just change this for no reason. Here you go. And if you don't like it, too bad. And I think that turned off a lot of Marvel readers, and I think a lot of them went to DC, and that's what I've been hearing from the fans at the shows. And yeah, Marvel sales has been going way down, and there doesn't seem like they're going to be changing anything anytime soon. Actually, when they first started making a lot of these changes to their characters, people did give them a lot of feedback, and they didn't like it at all, and their response to that was to make Captain America a Hydra agent. I don't know how that was the answer to their complaints. They kind of doubled down on it, and it just didn't work. And a lot of people just went right over to DC because that's where all the good storylines are right now. They really are hitting a lot of home runs across the DC universe, and that's what I've seen. Marvel has to change something really soon. I don't know if I see it in the foreseeable future, but I hope so. Obviously you don't want sales to be hurt so bad that a company like it goes bankrupt or anything like they almost did in the 90s. I don't want to see that again. So hopefully they get some new writers in there, maybe start, coming up with some, new stories and not just changing key core characters just for any reason at all. Hopefully they just go back to their roots.
I don't know why they would change those characters like that. I mean, I don't read the Marvel universe, but I do take a peek in the Marvel universe. So I'll Wikipedia some stuff, or I'll just thumb through some books, that I don't buy. So, but when like with Thor, why is Jane Foster Thor? You know what? If you want to have a strong female superhero character, I'm all for that. Well, why don't you create a strong female character? I don't think that Jane Foster should be Thor. I don't think there should be an Asian Hulk. Why don't you create a nice, strong Asian superhero? Iron Man is a teenage African-American woman and stuff. Now, hey, I'm African-American and I'm going to support my sisters, my teenage sisters and stuff, but create her own character. I just don't get it.
I agree. That's it. There was no reason to change those core characters. I would love to have these other characters, make them their own new superheroes. I think that would have been a better way to go about it. The Jane Foster one kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, but Jane Foster was never that interesting to begin with.
No, I know.
I was like, and now she's Thor? I was like, come on. I was like, she has no personality whatsoever. So that one threw me. Yes, I think they should have just, there's always room for new superheroes and supervillains. The people want these new characters, and they, fine. You want an Asian superhero? Come on, bring it. Write it well, and we'll buy it.
Absolutely.
And the African American superheroes. There's been a bunch through the years. I actually just picked up Black Elias, a run from the 70s, and I've been reading that, and that's really good. And just give us some new superheroes, and we will read them. And I don't like core changes to a lot of heroes that have been around since the 40s, some of these guys.
Right. You mentioned earlier about Rebirth. Now, I'm reading some Rebirth titles, and what Rebirth is to me, and, correct me if I'm wrong, but what Rebirth is to me, Rebirth is basically the New 52, with the exception of the New 52 Superman is out, and he has been amalgamated with the Superman of, I guess it would be Earth 1 at this point or something like that. But it seems like Rebirth is all the characters from the New 52 with the exception of Superman. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that is correct. Yeah, the New 52 Superman is gone. He is gone. That did not work at all. It was terrible. It's Earth 1 Superman, which, and also back with storylines with Lois Lane instead of Wonder Woman all the time. I like the switchback. The DC New 52 was very good early, but then ended very weak, and it really hurt DC towards the end, and they had to do something. And that's when they decided, listen, we just have to scrap a lot of this, start over, and do Rebirth, and especially fix Superman, because I thought they kind of ruined him. So they went back, started rewriting again, and Rebirth has been fantastic. People have been picking Rebirth up just in bundles. A lot of the titles I can't even keep around anymore. Especially Batman and Flash. They go out the door really quick.
I'm going to lean on your expertise for this. Now, the New 52 Superman, I heard that a lot of people didn't like it, and I think that you just said that it didn't work. but I'm going to lean on you because I really enjoyed the New 52 Superman. And the New 52 Superman was actually my favorite version of the Clark Kent Superman. My favorite Superman interpretation of Superman of all is Superman of Earth 23, that I affectionately call Earth Air Jordan. And that's Superman. And Earth 23, all the white superheroes are black, and all the black superheroes are white. So Superman is literally a brother from another planet. His name is still Kal-El or Kali, spelled Kalei, and his name's not Clark Kent. He's Calvin Ellis, and he is the President of the United States. But we're not going to talk about the Earth 23 Superman. We can do that at a later podcast. Back to the New 52 Superman. I really enjoyed that character. Why did that character not work?
You know, it's that I think it worked early on. I don't think a lot of people, they just didn't like the direction that they went, that they've really, I'm trying to think of really how to put this, because it was weird. The writing really kind of went like overboard, I think. That's what I heard from a lot of people, because I personally don't read Superman myself. But yeah, from what I got from a lot of the fans, they just thought that they kind of went too far towards the end. I don't know if you read all the final issues of the Superman New 52. They kind of really took it to the extreme. They didn't like the way they kind of took out Lois Lane out of a lot of the backstory. That they kind of changed a lot of what was already canon for Superman. So they kind of changed a lot of the things around, and it really turned off a lot of the hardcore fans. That's the reaction I got. The Rebirth kind of went back to the old school Superman, and I guess more people like that. People can't handle change a lot, I guess, right. Is the big thing, and that's kind of like Marvel's problem right now too. People don't like drastic changes to major characters, and yeah, they just didn't like the writing towards the end of the Superman New 52, and they kind of went back to what the fans wanted. At least they listened to the fans, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's better. That's certainly better than what Marvel's doing these days.
Exactly. Yes, I mean, they should always listen to the fans instead of insulting them, which Marvel seems to do. It's like, hey, if you don't like our characters, too bad. And it's like, well, they're kind of the ones that buy it. So kind of like a bad business, motto right there.
The Rebirth Lex Luthor, who is Superman, a version of Superman.
Yeah.
Now, as you know, PC, in the New 52, Lex Luthor figured out who Batman was. And this was a direct result of Forever Evil. Love that crossover. So Lex Luthor clearly know Batman's Bruce Wayne. Now we're in this Rebirth, and there's no indication that I have read that he still knows who Batman is. So again, I'm going to lean on your expertise. Does Lex Luthor in the Rebirth know Batman's Bruce Wayne? Where it seems like everybody knows Batman's Bruce Wayne these days, but
yeah, no, they haven't really come out and given us a definitive answer, which kind of doesn't make any sense. Maybe they're assuming that, everyone knows. Yeah, well, he knows. It's just not making it known. I really don't know what they did there. They haven't really come out and said it, or Luthor hasn't come out and said it. So I don't that's one of the things that they kind of changed, and I don't know. I actually kind of like that. I mean, yeah, everyone knows who Batman is. So I mean, he should know who Batman is. But yeah, they haven't really delved deep into that. Maybe they will in future issues. Which is always interesting. Just like the Batman vs Superman movie. I kind of think they took some of the New 52 story and put it into that movie, which some people liked and some people didn't like. You know, I actually kind of liked the movie. It wasn't fantastic, but, you know, I liked it. I don't know about you.
Oh, I like that movie as well. And Batman versus Superman, that Superman was Superman of the New 52. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
Superman of New 52 is gone. And I know that they started work on the Justice, or at least I think I know that they started work on the Justice League before DC went to Rebirth. And
Yes.
for what I've read, it seems like at the end of Justice League, they're going to bring Superman. Superman's going to come back to life. And you cannot have a Justice League without Superman. So that completely makes sense to me. So what I'm wondering is, you know, is this Superman going to be the New 52 Superman that for most people, in their opinions, didn't work? I really enjoyed that character. Or is this Superman going to be the Rebirth, more towards the Rebirth Superman? So did he go through some type of change having died? I mean, both you and I have never died and come back to life. So I don't know.
No.
I mean, I guess when you die, you come back to life. I guess that gives you a new perspective on things. I don't know, but
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's coming back a little different than before. Yeah, it could be the Rebirth Superman. I know they brought in and rewrote some of the stuff for Justice League, so I'm wondering what they changed. You know, hopefully it's for the better. You know, I'm really looking forward to Justice League, and I'm really looking forward to what they do with Superman. You know, because this is a big storyline. I hope they don't mess it up. I mean, he's literally coming back from the dead. You know, so it's not just like, oh, hey, what's up, man? You're back. All right, cool. You know, it can't be just like that. They have to, it has to be something big. And I think we're going to see a possible big change to Superman in the Justice League movie. So I'm excited to see that, because I'm hoping that this movie does really well. Because I really love a lot of the DC characters, and I want to see more of them on the screen. So I'm really rooting for DC, and it's all going to start with Justice League. And, you know, I don't know, a lot of people, I'm a fan of Ben Affleck. Me personally, I love Ben Affleck. You know, I think I liked his portrayal of Batman. I'm hoping he sticks around. I was kind of disappointed that he decided not to direct the standalone Batman movie. I think the fans kind of scared him away. He didn't want to have a, you know, backlash in case they didn't like it. But I actually really like Ben Affleck as director. I think he's a phenomenal director, and I think that would have been a phenomenal movie. But you know, comic book fans, they come in swarms and they attack people, and it scares people sometimes. And I think it scared him away from directing that movie, which is kind of a bummer.
I agree with you that he did a fantastic job in Batman, and I certainly like his portrayal of Batman. And again, I look at these different portrayals as different universes. Now, I have to admit, when he was first cast as Batman, and I'm like, oh, well, you know, I will give it a chance, because I remember when Michael Keaton was first cast as Batman. Michael Keaton was Beetlejuice. And
Yep, absolutely.
Back then, I'm like, Beetlejuice playing Batman, this is not going to work. And I thought it worked. So when Ben Affleck got cast as Batman, or as fanboys or fan people out there like to call Batfleck, I was like, okay, well, I'm interested in his portrayal. You know, so I was certainly open-minded going in. The one thing that I did not like was that Batman is a little bit older in this DC universe. I mean, because Superman, we know Superman is 33 years old, because in that Superman movie, they certainly pushed it down our throats about Superman being 33 and the whole Jesus Christ thing and all this stuff. So we know Superman was 33.
Yep.
But in this Batman movie, Batman is probably like between 40 and 42. So he's a few years older than Superman. And, you know, in the comic books, they're all basically the same age. So that I did not like going in. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, that was more of almost like a Frank Miller Dark Knight type of Batman, where an aged Batman battles Superman. And yeah, but they didn't have the older version of Superman. It was, it's the newer version of Superman battling an older, rugged, the world's kind of beat me down type of Batman. And I don't know if it came off as good as it could have. I love the Frank Miller Dark Knight series. That's the vibe I got. The more violent, Batman. It was kind of like tricky to pull off. A lot of people didn't like it. I thought it came off good enough. I liked the Batman performance, but yeah, it is kind of strange that we're seeing a young Superman versus an old Batman. It is kind of weird because that's not the normal continuity of the DC universe, because that story by Frank Miller was only 4 issues, and it was just kind of like a break off from the normal DC universe. So that it's kind of weird that they're going with that for all future movies. So it is kind of like, maybe it's kind of a risky play, but I guess we'll see if it's going to work out or not.
I like that word, continuity, #continuity. So we have this Justice League movie that's coming up where Batman is 40 to 42. Wonder Woman is certainly older than 40 to 42, but damn, does she look good.
Yeah, she's pretty good for what would she be right now? About, I don't know, 80, 90.
Yeah, she looking mighty fine. Not Linda Carter fine, but still mighty fine. And then you're going to have Flash as a teenager, Cyborg's a teenager, and Aquaman. I wouldn't be surprised if Aquaman is like 150, 200 years old. And I would like to see the interaction between Aquaman and Superman, which I'm not sure if we would see this in the first Justice League movie. But you figure Aquaman is the Superman of the 7 seas. He's royalty. He's a king. And Aquaman is a badass. Not the portrayal of the Hanna-Barbera Aquaman from the 70s cartoon.
No,
Aquaman is badass.
No, yeah, it is. Thank God it is not that Aquaman. Oh man, that would have been really bad. Thank God they didn't think of that. I like the look that they're giving Aquaman for this. Jason Momoa is really a really good pick for Aquaman. Yeah, I'm really hoping they do. They have a lot of interactions between Aquaman and Superman. I'm hoping they use his character a lot. I know he'll be getting his own standalone movie too, which I think will be interesting. I'm really hoping they do something with the Flash too. The Flash is ultra popular right now. People are loving the Flash, and so I like their choices for the actors to play these roles. So I'm hoping that they get some good writers in there and really put something really good on the screen for the fans. I'm pretty excited about the future of DC Comics right now.
PC, as this Dudcast number 3 is coming to its final several minutes, why don't you tell the listeners out there things that's happening with Comic Explosion that you and I had talked about before the podcast?
Oh, absolutely. Well, Comic Explosion, and that's Explosion, that's X-Plosion, Explosion, like an X-Men. If you want to come check us out, we have a few upcoming shows. We're going to be at the South Coast Comic Con at the Hanover Mall, July 22nd and 23rd. And we're going to be at the Boston Comic Con, August 11th, 12th, and 13th at the Boston Convention and Exhibition Center. Also, starting next Saturday, July 8th, we're going to be doing something brand new. We're going to be doing Facebook Live auctions on Facebook. You can check us out on the Comic Explosion, X-Plosion, Explosion. And if you have any questions of where we're going to be, because we travel the country and we'll be in all different states, you can email us at comicexplosion@gmail.com.
So there's comicexplosion@gmail.com, and another way to get in touch with PC, if you want to get in touch with PC, learn more about Comic Explosion and all that, feel free to hit me up. So tweet at me at Nestor Dudley. If you don't have Twitter, you just want to send me an email, so you can send me an email, DudleyATR@AOL.com. DudleyATR at AOL.com. Tweet at me at Nestor Dudley, at DUDLEY. Excuse me, NESTERDUDLEY. You can listen to this podcast on our temporary home, which is atrlive.com. There's a spot for BTR. You can view us on Facebook, view this podcast. It is a podcast on, not Facebook, on YouTube. So Nestor Dudley, and then you go to the playlist BTR, and it is there. We are also on iTunes, podcast iTunes, so you can also reach us there as well. Paul Conrad, my friend PC, thank you very much for being the third guest on this podcast, BTR, that I like to call the Dudcast. And my friend, this is not going to be the only time I'm going to have you on BTR.
Well, thank you for having me. I had a great time. I know me and you can talk about comics for, 24 hours a day. I don't think people will listen to a 24-hour podcast. We have to do this again.
If I thought they would, this would be a 24-hour podcast.
Fantastic.
So once again, Paul, thank you, and we will definitely have you back. So until next time, I just want to say buenas noches, hooches cooches. I came in peace. I leave with love. This is for the red, the black, and the green. Living cool, living calm, living clean. I'm out!